In 1783, James Logan Colbert took his youngest son, James, to Pensacola to apprentice him to a storekeeper so that he could learn to read and write and keep records. This was in December of 1783. So his servant said they were a couple of days out and the horse was startled, threw James Logan Colbert. It killed him instantly. And as was the Chickasaw custom, the slave Caesar buried James Logan Colbert where he fell. When the young Colberts grew up, they married, and like Solomon of old in the Bible, they knew how to keep peace. William married Alexander McGillivray's wife's sister, who was a Creek. Levi married two Chickasaw sisters. George married two sisters who were daughters of Doublehead, who later in 1805 was going to become chief of the Cherokee. James married a half-blood whose father was the Choctaw agent, so they were tied to the Choctaw. So now we have strong Colbert brothers who are married into each one of the tribes in Alabama: the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, and the Creek. So we're not going to have any problems. We're all family. Thomas Jefferson wanted to build what he called trading factories. We call it a trading post. The first one was built at Council Bluffs. We say Memphis. And the policy had been, it was told to the people who kept these trading factories, entice the Indians to trade on credit. So this was a way to get their land. Jefferson's idea was, let them trade on credit. By and by, they'll have nothing to pay with except their property. By 1830, Andrew Jackson was president, and he had promised the people if they would elect him, he would open up these lands, the last of the best cotton lands, to the settlement. And he did. He had in 1830 the leaders of the Chickasaw Nation to walk up the trace. And by this time, the trace was no longer being used because in 1818 the steamboats started coming up the river. It was much safer to come on the steamboat than to get robbed or snake bit or whatever on walking back up the trace from Natchez. So the Indian leaders walked up the trace to a little church in Franklin, Tennessee. And they made an agreement that if suitable land could be found, they would move west of the Mississippi. The key is suitable land be found. It wasn't. But in 1832, the Colberts were told, you'll either go peacefully or you'll go at the point of a gun. But we have to also know that the white man was encroaching. They weren't keeping their words. There were several towns with several hundred people in each town, such as Holly Springs, Mississippi, where there were not supposed to be any white men. This was the Chickasaw's nation, but it was.